Welcome to the Knowledge Find IT viewers. Today we are going to see the programming concept. It is the basic programming concept. Let me move to the content. First, let me see the program expressing methods. Then we learn about the pseudocode and the definition of the pseudocode with an example. Then we learn about the programming phase. Then we learn about the definition of flowchart, how to make flowchart, and the components of the flowchart with an example. And then we learn about an algorithm. What is algorithm? With an example of algorithm. Then we move to the topic for the Java basic programming concept. Like we see the expressing methods. Before we move to this topic, we need to learn about the programming. What is programming? Programming means it is an instruction or a command that which command helps to do the specific action, or it will be a solution for the particular program. Can you please assume the calculator machine? Because the calculator machine has been created to overcome the problem, to calculate the many numbers, to participate in addition, multiplication, subtraction and division. So each system has been built to solve the problem. So the system is a solution for the problem. So the programming is a set of instruction. It has been written in any of the language. We have already know several programming language as like normal common language, Tamil and Sinhala. We are using specific language to understand the machine. That means understand by the computer. So we are using the programming languages such as Python, PHP, React Native, such as. So when we going to the topic, we need to learn first about the programming expressing methods. They are flowchart, pseudocode, algorithm, and programming language. Let me see one by one. Pseudocode. Pseudocode, it is a compact and informal, high-level description of a computer programming algorithm. Pseudocode, it is a written document. It elaborates by step. If you are going to prepare the tea, you have to decide the ingredients that you are going to add in the tea. So you have to write the predefined steps to follow to make the tea. So as like that, the pseudocode is needed to the unprogrammer. The human, without having the programming knowledge, easily understand the concept or understand the system. So it helps to reveal the solution. Let me find the example. Here it is an example to create the email address. If you are going to log in through any of the web page, you have to provide the email address. So the system should follow those steps. Here I have indicated step 1 to step 8. First start the system, then in the step 2, need to create a variable to receive the user email address. In step 3, clear the variable in case it's not empty. We need to check the email address text box whether it is empty or not. Then in step 4, ask the user to enter the email address. In step 5, need to store the response in the variable. Response means need to store the email address in the system temporary variable. In step 6, check stored response to see if it is a valid email address. Then again need to validate whether the user has entered the correct email. If user not entered validate email, in step 7, need to check if it not validate, go to the back step 3. And then again system should be end. Those are the steps need to be followed to verify the email. Then let me see another example for the pseudocode. Let me take the real world example. Let me take any of the random 2 numbers. And we need to add 2 numbers. So, need to prepare the pseudocode for this. So, we clustered into following steps. In step 1, we start. In step 2, we need to get 2 numbers. Step 3, we need to get the first number. Step 4, get second number. Step 5, need to add both number. In step 6, print the answer. In step 7, need to end the function. Here you can visualize the output. If you randomly take the 2 numbers, they are 2 or 4. The first we are taking the first number as 2 and we are taking the second number as 4. And we are using the function that is addition. So we need to add 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. Then we move to the topic that is programming phase. Here we can classify the programming phase into 2 types. They are problem solving phase and implementation phase. Upon the problem solving phase, we can define the flowchart and algorithm. Upon the implementation phase, we need to develop the system using any of the programming language. Here I indicate the Java programming language. You can use by your own confidential programming language like Python or PHP or such any of the programming language. Here in problem solving phase, we need to identify the problems and find out the solution for the particular system. So, we need to analyze the problems through the flowchart and algorithm. Now let's see what is flowchart. Flowchart it is a graphical representation of logical sequence because it is appeared in a visual representation. That means it has used some blocks and arrows and some circles, rectangles, and it elaborates the step 1 to step 2. Start node to end node. So we are using the flowchart to understand the common problem and clarify the each steps and avoid delays and cover the all unclear problems and reveal the operation. Reveal the operation, that means we need to clarify the each functions through the flowchart. We can understand the process throughout the reveal the operation. Shapes in flowchart. Those are the symbols and components we need to use when we are drawing the flowchart. Actually, normally the computer system has 3 main functions like inputting, processing, outputting. So, through the flowchart also we need to pass the input, then process, then display the output. So, we need to correlate those symbols. Here, the rectangle symbol used to indicate the process. And this symbol that called the parallel rectangle which used to indicate the input and output. And some other case, we need to check the decision. During the process, we need to check the several conditions. Like, can you please assume if you want to check the student marks, whether the student has passed or not in the final examination, we need to use the following condition, like such as grade equal or more than 50 marks, such as. So at that point, you need to use that decision icon. Then connector. The connector used in flowchart without intersecting lines or without a reverse flow. And here this predefined process used to invoke subroutine or an interrupt program. And also terminal. Before starting and ending, we need to put the start and end. To write start and end, we are using the terminal. And we are using the flow line for direction of the flow. Here, this is a simple example for the flow chart. Let me take two numbers. So, I start and end. I'm using this terminal. Then I need to preparing the process because we need to find the output. That means total. So, declare the variables number 1, number 2 and sum. These are stored in the system. So, system means stored in the memory. So, that's why I put the process icon. Then I need to input the values. So, read number 1 and number 2. Here, number 1 and number 2 are the inputs. And then process, I need to add the number 1 and number 2 and display the sum. Here, this is the well-defined explanation. When beginning the process, the sum is equal to 0. After we enter the numbers, I have taken the random numbers 10 and 20. The sum will be calculated by 10 plus 20. After, we need to print the sum. Here, the sum value is 30. Let me see about the algorithm. Algorithm is a step to solve problem. Here, in algorithm, we have classified the steps into three categories, three parts. That means input, process and output. But in pseudocode, we are classifying the problems into steps. Let me take the example with the flow chart and the algorithm for a particular school student marks. We are randomly get the particular marks, that M1 means marks 1, marks 2, mark 3, mark 4. And we are getting the user input as the marks. Then we need to analyze the grade for those students. So, the process that we need to need to calculate the average. That's why I need to prepare the total by adding the M1 plus M2 plus M3 plus M4. Then I divide the total by 4 to calculate the average. Then after, I compare the grade and the average marks. If the student got the marks above than 50, they will be considered as pass. Else of the student should be considered as fail. So this is an algorithm for that particular flowchart. Here I am getting the input as marks M1, M2, M3, M4. Step, we need to process the equation to calculate the average, and then I put the condition. If the grade less than 50, then print fail. Else not. That means the grade more than 50, we need to print pass. Then we see about the objects and classes in Java. Normally Java is a programming language. In Java, we are representing the coding through the class. Class is a keyword, and in Java, the class is accessed by open access modifiers that call public. And in Java, we are using the curly bracket. Upon the curly bracket, within the curly bracket, we are using the variables and methods. Here, those are the operators that we are using commonly in Java. Arithmetic operators, unary operators, assignment operators, logical, ternary, bitwise, shift operators. Here, this is a chart that we need to verify before moving to the Java programming. Let me see how to declare the variable. The variable is an input that we are going to initialize. That means if you are going to add two numbers, we are getting the two numbers. So the number is a number. That's why each of the variable has each data type. Here the area is a number and it is a decimal. Is indicated in decimal because after the 0.14. So we need to put the data type as double. If it's the age, if you want to declare the variable as a age, you need to put the data type as integer. If you want to declare the name, you can assign the data type as string. Let me see the recap or the summary. Flowchart, pseudocode and algorithm are the way to solve the coding problem for the programmers. And we learn the huge things of variable declarations and class and method function. Thanks for watching.